What's up, job boarders? So I like new approaches to job search, and today is one of those shows. A new tech platform offering tech pros a complete autonomous solution to finding their next career move at launch. It's called Headhuntable, and the site leverages virtual assistants to aid job seekers in their search. Here, joining me now is their founder, Nathaniel Hallford. He joins me now from Austin, Texas. Hey, Nathaniel, it's great to have you on the show. What's the origin story of this? Give me the background.
Sure. So basically, I actually founded this service when I had was in a really lower part of my life. Basically, I had been working for a tech company and they had fired me for pretty much no reason, just because of office politics.
Hmm.
I ended up basically kind of like almost losing everything because I didn't have a backup for it. And then I built the service for myself. And when I saw everything happening last year within the tech industry, I figured it's a good time to basically start to build on it. The site that you see right now is actually, we're actually going to be doing a redesign of it
Hmm.
because this was just something we launched with. And we'll be releasing the new site out in about 3 to 4 weeks from now.
Okay.
But basically, what I had done is I wanted to give myself job security. So what I had done is I went and I hired VAs from like Upwork at the time, and I was training them on how to find me work. So they would go out and find work for me, and then I would just keep working in tech and then just keep going on Zoom calls and basically close the work. And then doing that, I was able to work for about 3 to 4 different companies at once.
Okay. So these VAs, they were basically applying for you. Is that what they were doing?
Oh, pretty much doing everything. The VAs right now, what they do is we take VAs and we train them with basically just like they're an inside recruiter, but they're working for you
Hmm.
instead of a tech company.
Yeah.
So they get training on all the different skills within tech. They get training on what's the difference between like Java and Java Beans, and they get trained on like what's the difference between front end and back end. So they know all of these different things. So what that ends up happening with is basically they're pretty weaponized to go out there and find you work so that you don't really have to do anything other than just work with them on a day-to-day basis for about 2 to 3 weeks at initially.
Hmm.
And a lot of these applicant tracking software, they have all these different questions that they ask, right? And a lot of these questions are pretty similar. Like, tell me about a time that you've utilized, like, for example, PHP to build a complex enterprise level application. So you would go through, then you would answer that question normally by yourself. So the assistant is actually trained on all of your answers. So all she or he has to do is just basically apply for you. And then after that, you're pretty much what it translates to is just Zoom calls on your calendar.
Are there
And
any
then
pitfalls around that? Having someone else essentially apply for you? Have you run into any issues where the role really wasn't the right role?
so that is what we rule out within our welcome call and then our onboarding call that we have. So we basically do the welcome call and onboarding call to find out like who you are as a person, what really makes you happy with what you're doing. And we basically in our onboarding call, we pretty much just do more of like a technical interview. So we understand where best you would fit,
Hmm.
and then get those notes to your assistant so they know which roles to apply you for.
Okay. And who does that welcome call? Is that you? Is it your team? Is it the VA?
It's right now it's myself and Darlin, who used to be a leader in different HR companies. So Darlin's background is in HR and my background's in tech. She does so basically to even get you those calls, a lot of people don't even understand that you have to have a really good resume these days and a really good cover letter.
Hmm.
So Darlin will take your resume and she'll basically make two versions of it, a graphical version and a non-graphical version, because we noticed in beta testing that the graphical version actually had a lot of different impacts on your conversion rates.
Hmm.
because a lot of the times that people are reading all these different resumes, if it's graphical, they can go in and then they can easily kind of like yours pops up pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
The visual resume has always been important to me. You know, if a person's going to see it versus just a standard text-based resume, the visual one's going to stand out first. So,
exactly. So that's what we do first, and then the next thing is we get to learn who you are as a person, so that we can go out there and best represent you.
mm,
And your assistant is basically put into a Slack channel with you, and you can speak with her, him at any time during office hours, and they basically will send you at the end of the day a report of all the different job postings that you were submitted to with all the different companies. And they will also send reports on what interviews were scheduled for you on your behalf. And I don't know if you knew this, but a lot of people don't even know, like, for example, if I have an interview within 2 hours and I can't make it,
yeah.
a lot of people don't know, how do I reschedule it in a way that makes sense, right?
Mm,
How do I and not burn that bridge? How do I reschedule it and not burn that bridge? How do I keep that relationship? So we train our assistants
mm,
very well on like email etiquette, email handling. So they pretty much know exactly what to say, what to write, on how to get you out of like particularly sticky situations, because there's a lot of times in life something happens, right? And you can't attend your interview. And then when you can't attend it, a lot of people just don't show up. But when you do that, you're actually burning the bridge with that company.
yeah.
And you
Okay.
can't go back to that company for at least a year to reapply.
So you're basically your payment, your revenue model, essentially the job seeker. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Explain how they pay you to work with you here on the pricing page.
So basically, you can pay as you go. It's $15 per hour, or you pay per block. So pay per block is something that I came up with. It basically is, let's say you want to try the service, but you don't want to commit to it long term.
Hmm.
So do pay per block, and you'll get 10 hours, which are prepaid. And basically, you just try the system out, see how it's working for you. And on average, within 10 hours of time, we'll usually have you submitted to about, I would say, 60 to 80 companies,
Mm.
right? And you'll have basically the cover sheets that will be submitted to them are all custom tailored to the company, and will basically get you some calls. It really depends on, like, to be honest, like how long. For example, I was just on a call earlier, and the person I was on the call with hasn't been working in tech for 2 years. So for that person, like, we don't know yet what would happen. We'd have to do the resume edits. We'd have to basically try out the 10-hour block and then see the results of it, because she's not working right now,
Yeah.
right?
Are your VAs, are they creating accounts on different job boards and these employer websites for the client
Yes, that's
under
correct.
their email address?
Yes.
Yep. Oh, must be a lot of logins
Yeah, so they
that you
share
have to
the
deal with.
logs with the client, and we operate on an agency model. So basically, your assistant works for us, and we manage the relationship, and we continuously invest into the assistant, giving him or her more and more training, more and more mentoring, more and more coaching, so that as through time they get better and better and better at doing it. Because
Hmm.
right now I still have like two assistants working, and they are constantly getting me leads within my funnel, right? And that I keep it that way because it's always nice to have opportunities, right?
Yeah.
That you can speak to on a rolling basis.
Okay. And there's no jobs in your site, is that right? Or maybe there's jobs coming at some point.
Jobs as in that you can apply to.
Yeah.
So yeah, so right now we're looking for FANG level mentors to actually help with the influx of new clients coming. So we're looking for people who've worked for different top tech companies who are looking to do mentoring and coaching for engineers, primarily engineers right now, that are having issues getting through their technical rounds or even their culture fit interviews.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone who's watching this wants to, apply, we are going to be adding a new page on our new site in a few weeks to basically showcasing our unique program that we're offering for mentors. But we are very similar in our mentoring to Pathrise, but with Pathrise is very expensive, to be honest. And it's not very feasible for people who are out of work, right? Because I don't know if you knew this, but what Pathrise does is if you're out of work, they want you to sign an agreement that you'll pay them back once you get a job.
Mm.
So, but they don't tell you what the payment is. It really depends on how much is invested into you.
Interesting. Where are your VAs? Are they all over the world? Is it one country or?
We primarily outsourcing. We hire them from the Philippines. So I used to live in the Philippines for about 4 years.
Oh yeah.
So I know the culture very well and the laws very well. So we basically we hire from the Philippines. We pretty much hire people who have been working in different call centers and then have a computer science background, and then we train them up. And then we basically have them working with the clients after they've been trained.
Nice. Okay. Um, it's an interesting model. I like the human aspect here you're doing here. I think AI is coming for this as well. Don't you think about the AI aspects of there's that site called Lazy Apply, I think it's called. Um, I think a
Yeah, I
machine does
think
that
that
for you, right?
the AI aspect is coming into it, but the problem with the AI aspect is like it's never going to be able to target all the different sites. It's AI. I mean, I do AI engineering as well,
Mm-hmm.
and AI engineering it's nowhere near applying for all the different sites. Different roles have different opportunities in different sites. And we are going to be adding AI in as on a rolling basis. We are going to be adding different automations as we scale on a rolling basis, but we're not going to be able to target all the different sites, right? Because different sites, there's 3 different ways to do targeting, right? You can do what's called a robot based using Puppeteer, or you can utilize the scraping, or you can, if you're lucky, the site has an API, or you can build something like a hybrid of it, but it's just the technology is not there yet to apply you for everywhere. And there are certain sites that are implementing like AI into it, but to be honest, like you have to have someone right now, at least a human being who can actually write a good response for you, right? A good
Mm-hmm.
cover letter for you. Because like even ChatGPT does not create great cover sheets anymore.
Yeah.
To date.
Is the cover letter still important?
It is. It really provides the entry point, in my opinion, for companies because they're looking at the cover sheet. If you're using a vanilla cover sheet where basically you're just copying and pasting and switching the company name out, you're not going to have as much luck as if you're just basically reading the job description,
Mm-hmm.
reading your resume, and then writing a compelling message to get the company to contact you back.
Gotcha. Okay, you said you work with the person over Slack. Does the VA have access to my email account in order to do these replies, or how does that work?
They get another email account that they set up on your behalf,
Mm-hmm.
and basically they do all the work out of that email
Oh,
account.
so you kind of share a new email account then, the two of you?
Yes. And then
Gotcha.
they use the shared calendar from that email account to your main email and just add events onto your calendar.
Gotcha. Do you kind of foresee yourself creating a platform to log into instead of using Slack, things like that at some point?
That's the next thing to put into the pipeline. So we actually, first, my background is as a serial entrepreneur. So I didn't want to uh put the cart before the horse, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So
Prove
we're
prove
doing
your prove your model here works, right? First.
Yeah, prove the model works and then invest into infrastructure to help it scale and help it grow.
What have you learned about the tech landscape right now? Is it that bad as I've been hearing, or what's your take on it?
I think that it's not that bad if you want to work in the office, right? If you want to work in the office, it's not that hard to get work. But if you want to work remotely, you're competing against tons of people who have a lot of experience who also want to work from home. So it depends on how much do you want to work from home right now. And also, it really depends on if you're currently working. Like if you haven't been working for a while, it's going to be harder for you to find work than if you're currently working. And it really also did what we found in beta testing is how you articulate yourself and how you communicate through your different rounds. Because we've seen cases where we would get someone an interview for working at Tesla, but then they were not able to get past the first interview because they weren't like coached and mentored. So the coaching and mentoring part was recently added onto the business model. That's why we had decided to redesign the site. We're working on the development of it. And the coaching and mentoring, we give you 30 minutes to 1 hour each week. It depends on how much time you need. Most people only need 30 minutes just to go through like what happened with how did your week go.
Yeah.
So it's more like I don't know if you're familiar with like sprint methodologies. It's like a retrospective call.
Hmm.
So after you talk to the company, there's a retrospective. Okay, what went well, what didn't go well, and then you're figuring out why it didn't go well, and then you're iterating with your mentor so that it goes well. Because you, for example, we had one client who was not doing well getting past the culture fit. So we asked them, what were they asking you on the culture fits? What type of questions were you being asked? And like, oh, what do you do outside of work? And a lot of people think that that's such a simple question, right? But it's a very loaded question. What do you do outside of work? Most people will say, oh, I spend time with my family and I, just read. But it's actually an opportunity for you. What do you do outside of work is an opportunity for you to connect with the interviewer.
Hmm.
Because then you can say, oh, I do kayaking or I do mountain climbing. And if you do something very interesting that's outside the box, the interviewer is going, oh, really? Okay, that's cool. How
Yep.
long have you been doing that? Right? It makes you stand off the page, right? So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
something that our client didn't know. So just working with our mentor and then was basically hashing through all the questions and he's able to get past the culture fit interview very easily. So that's why we have the 30-minute to 1 hour catch up is basically it's done like a sprint retrospective type of call where we're looking in retrospect on what went well, what didn't go well, so we can find out what actually happened.
Yep.
And it's just an open forum for you to just talk. Well, I said this. What do you think about that? And you to have mock interviews with your mentor. And also, if you're trying to get an IC role, individual contributor role, it's a good way for you to do mock live coding because that is what they're doing a lot now these days.
Mm-hmm.
So live coding, they're doing a lot of live whiteboarding. So basically working with your mentor to get better at it because what's going to happen is if you're not so great at it, you're going to get through live coding and you're just going to kind of fail through it. And then you're going to go to your retrospective call like, yeah, I tried to do this test. It didn't work. So then your mentor will basically give you the tools that you need to get past the live coding round. Because it's not just, I don't know if you knew this, but live coding is not just about writing code. It's about explaining your solution while you're actually building something, right?
Yep. What have job seekers been when you launched this? I saw your press release about it. That's why I reached out to you. But what are job seekers telling you about it? Why are they so excited about it? Give me some feedback from them.
Well, they're excited and they're kind of curious. They're excited because there's nothing really like it on the market. And they're kind of curious because they are like, the call I just had, like, they really haven't heard of anything like it. So they're curious and they're excited. I feel like once we do more press once we get more editorials written about us, and once we grow more, right now we're actually part of a popular LA accelerator. And once we just keep on trekking forward, a lot of people will tell their friends, like, this is really cool. Because to be honest, it takes a lot of time to find a job, right? It
Yeah.
takes like 40 to 60 hours just to find work.
Yep.
And it's like, if you have kids, if you have a family, if you have a relationship, that's a lot of time, right? On top of your day job or on top of whatever else you have going on. So this is a solution for people who want to find work, but don't want to spend a lot of time doing it. And then also want to not have to do as many interviews.
Yeah. Do you foresee this just working in tech? Do you see other industries it's good for? Give me some thoughts on that.
I'm beta testing it this year within the technology industry. And then next industry I was looking to do it in was within the healthcare industry. I know nurses and doctors that are just out of school could utilize this a lot, because a lot of time, like, think about doctors, right? When you first graduate from school, you have to be a resident, right, in the hospital. So you have to do 70 hours per week, right, usually, of work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you want to go home and apply again for another 40 hours?
Yeah, good luck.
So there are certain jobs, certain industries that this would work well in. Very time intensive type of industries, like lawyers, like it's a lot of hours, right? Engineers, a lot of hours. Anyone in tech's a lot of hours. Doctors do a lot of hours. So anything where time is a commodity, this would be really good for.
Yeah.
Like, honestly speaking, I wouldn't roll this out for like just like service and food level industry type of work, because it's probably easier to get that.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate your time today, Nathan. Good luck with the tool. Tell everybody where to go to learn more.
Sure. Yeah, you can go to headhuntable.io. You can also follow us on Facebook. We're trending there right now. I think also LinkedIn, you can follow us there. And yeah, just if you have any questions, admin@headhuntable.io. Just send us an email and we'll get back to you.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for your time, Nathan, Nathaniel, and
All
yeah, hit us up when you have some more news about the site and stuff.
right. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
All right.